On a panel before.
The Bliss Business Podcast, the show about empathy, connection, and consciousness in business. Today's episode is brought to you by Zero Company, your paid search, social media, and programmatic ad experts.
Welcome back to the show where we explore how empathy, connection, and purpose transform business from the inside out. I'm Stephen, joined again by Mike, and today's conversation explores innovative work models. Here's a surprising statistic. According to the Franchise Business Review, 70% of franchise businesses fail within the first 5 years. And our guest today is a leader who has helped countless businesses defy those odds, reimagining growth and operations through smarter, more sustainable franchise models. Mike, please introduce our guest today.
Oh, Stephen, I'm delighted to and looking forward to our discussion. So this morning, we're excited to welcome Carnie Fryfogle. He's actually the co-founder and the current CEO of CR3 American Exteriors. And with decades of experience in franchise management, Carnie's had the opportunity to help brands scale through a mix of strategic planning, operational excellence, and also that people-centric leadership that we love to talk about here on the show. And we know our audience is very interested in learning more about that. And Carnie has a passion for empowering franchisees and transforming their businesses into those high-performing operations that they seek. He's known for bringing fresh, people-first thinking to an industry that is often dominated by very rigid playbooks, we could say. So, Carnie, we are thrilled to have you on the show with us today. Welcome to the Bliss Business Podcast.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on this afternoon, and I believe it's still morning for you guys.
Yep. It's getting there. So maybe, Carnie, we could start off just to learn a little bit more about your journey, and in particular for our audience, how that empathy and the importance of connection, play a role into your leadership and your style.
Yeah, absolutely. So I founded the company back in 2017. Prior to that, I'd been in construction literally my entire life. As a young kid, hammer, nail, 2x4s. There's actually a photo of me that's on social media. It buzzes around from time to time. I look like I can hardly walk. I'm like 2-3 years old. I got a hammer, nail, 2x4s, and I'm putting something together. So it was kind of just ingrained in me from a young age. I worked with my grandfather, my father, just kind of grew up in it. I always joke with everybody and tell them I didn't choose this life, it chose me. So naturally, when it was time to try and create a means of income to either pay for a vehicle while I'm coming up through middle school, high school, whatever, construction is just kind of naturally what I fell into, the family business. And when it came time to either go to college and spend 40 grand a year or try and strap a tool belt on and make 40 grand a year, I elected to throw the tool belt on, and kind of just had a moment in time when I was about 20, 21 years old where I realized that I get one life, I have one opportunity to do something special. And at the time I was working and living for the weekend, right? Like just making a little bit of money to pay my bills. And it was enough for me to have fun. And I loved the weekends and I hated Monday. And just kind of had a moment where I looked at it for what it was and realized that I don't want to do this for the next 40 years of my life. Why am I looking at this in such a negative light? Just kind of recognize that, once again, I get one opportunity, one life. And that mental shift that took place made me open my eyes and realize that that work was not just a means to pay bills and live for the weekend, but it was a means for me to chase some type of lifestyle that I wanted in the future. So that mental shift was huge for me, and it led me to start looking and exploring other avenues. So in the fall of 2017, I decided to part ways from my father and focus on building an exterior company by myself. At the time, I'm 21, 22 years old, had $2,500 in my checking account and didn't know how I was going to do it. Never built a business before, but figured I'd bootstrap it and figure it out from there. And over the course of about 4 years, we went from nothing and a kid with $2,500 in his checking account to doing just under 15 million in annual. And we once again just kind of had another moment where we were doing well. We were on a great trajectory. private equity started knocking on our door. And at 26, 27 years old, I was faced with an opportunity to sell the company. And that sounds exciting in your mid to late 20s, but it's also scary at the same time to sign a 3-year non-compete, leave an industry that you care so much about, and leave people that you care about, right? Like, I did not get here by myself. It took a team of people. There's people who are no longer here that were huge assets in getting us there, right? So it felt like somewhat of a disservice to check out early, especially at such a young age, and even young in business, only being in it for 4 years. So we decided that with private equity on like coming to our industry, that there was a lot of consolidation that was going to take place. And in order to run with that, we had to have a model shift. And in the summer of 2022, we said, we're not going to sell. We're going to go ahead, change our focus from a corporate model to a franchise concept. Started franchising the company in the spring of 23. And now we have 16 active locations, and we're bringing in new talent just about every single month right now. And obviously looking to ramp those efforts up. So it's been a roller coaster. It's been fun. It's been challenging, but it's been worth every single second, every single minute. So we're very grateful to be where we are. We're excited for what the future looks like.
Yeah, congratulations. Nice. And very smart.
Yeah, I love the starting with $2,500, and now where you're at with the franchise model, multiple locations, all that. And then you mentioned something, and I always want to stress this, is you talked about just that small little mental shift. And we always make this same gesture if you're watching.
It's not a light switch, it's a turn.
Like I've done that a number of times myself, and I was just like, oh, you're just doing the same thing. But it's always that small little shift sometimes in just how you view your job or your life with meaning a little bit differently. And then suddenly, yeah, you have that energy for Monday and Tuesday, right? And you're not working for the weekend waiting for it to get here. So just another example here of someone who's like just a small little switch in something. Carnie, can you share a little bit how CR3 American Exteriors reimagines kind of the traditional franchise model? What are you guys doing that might be a little different?
Yeah, obviously there's some tangible things there, like systems, processes, and things that we feel that are innovative for the industry. We talked about AI very briefly, but we're looking at AI and how to advance that. But one of the big things that we stress all of the time is that we don't want to eliminate that human element. We want to make sure that our customers are still interacting with people, because people buy from people. People don't buy from technology. And although we are continuing to trend in a way that seems like we're going to start purchasing from technology, we still want to try and create and keep that humane element as much as possible. Even when we are letting AI or campaigns kind of run the play and run the script, we're still doing it in a tasteful manner where it's interacting as a human would. Like, we don't want our technology interacting like a bot or like technology. We want it interacting as a human. And it's very important to us that, and I stress this with all of our franchisees, all of the team members throughout our entire community that's over 125 people strong right now, that nothing matters and the customer comes first always. We do not have anything if we do not have happy customers. And that customer experience is the thing that we really drill into. And sometimes we're going to make it inconvenient for ourselves. Sometimes there's going to be technology that's going to allow us to do something maybe a little bit more streamlined, but it could sacrifice that customer experience. So customer experience for us is at the forefront of everything that we do, and every decision and every piece of technology that we bring in. And we feel very strongly that as long as we focus on our customers and as long as we focus on creating the best customer experience that we possibly can at that point in time, that will do pretty well in the marketplace.
Yeah, we've talked to other, successful franchise owners, and they really do talk about that customer experience kind of being, at the forefront of everything. Are there any like particular or specific skills you look for in like potential franchisees that would help them succeed kind of in this area?
Yeah, we're looking for people that have high influence. So if you have high influence, typically you're a pretty good person, right? So we're looking for people that align with our values and have a lot of the same qualities as us. Obviously, this is a 10-year agreement, so it's a long-term relationship. It's basically a marriage, and there's going to be things and decisions that as a franchisor we make that the franchisees are not going to like, and vice versa. The franchisees are going to do things and make decisions sometimes that we're not going to like. But as long as we can make a commitment to each other to continue to evolve, be better, and work together, we'll be just fine. But we're really looking for people that align with those values that we have. And then more specifically, we're looking for people that have a lot of influence in the marketplace, that have the ability to cultivate and lead people in a certain direction. And they're people that, like, we're building real companies here. We're not just looking for salespeople. So in order to build a real company, you need to be somebody that people want to follow, and you need to be a leader. And if you don't have strong leadership qualities, or you don't hold a level of ethics that people want to get behind and rally behind, you're going to have a really hard time getting and retaining good team members. So having those people of influence that are very high character individuals is very, very important to us. And we've obviously, as a young franchisor, we've made the mistake of thinking that certain individuals can make it and build a team. And there's plenty that have came and are doing it right now, and there's others that have came in and just not a good fit. And that's a part of the cycle that we're going through as a younger franchisor, just making sure that we're truly bringing in the best people for this model, and understanding that it's a great model and it works, but it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Just because you want to open up an exterior remodeling franchise doesn't mean that we need to get emotional and believe that this is the perfect thing for you if we just misalign on certain key processes or features or even ethics for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, right? Because there you have proof, right? That somebody who is a good leader, who has influence, who won't eliminate the human centricity in their business or in their character are the ones that are finding success. So I think that's really well put, Carnie. So Carnie, one of the things that's always super important for us on the show, and as well even for our audience, are results, right? We like to talk about things that lead to real impact. And, we've found, most people think that franchises are perhaps very rigid. They could be sort of cookie cutter in their operations. But, I think been able to show that really innovation is not only possible, but it's something that in many cases is even a necessity. So I'm curious, can you maybe give us an example of, say, a franchise that you've worked with, or an experience that you've had where that innovative kind of fresh approach actually had a measurable impact?
Yeah, it's very hard for me to pick one, to be truthful. So
Awesome.
as a franchisor, I believe that our responsibility is to seek opportunities and really make sure that we're trending in a positive direction with the foundation and the operating system. We invest every single dollar that we make right back into the system. But for me, I think it's very important to. I actually just kind of lost my train of thought. Can you rephrase the question again?
Yeah, no. So innovation obviously is key, right? Innovation is key.
Yeah.
But an example of maybe thinking fresh or being innovative that led to a real impact.
Yeah. So I caught back on my train of thought as you were bringing it back up. So
Totally.
we actually have an idea board. So we have like an intranet and a portal where all of our franchisees have access to it. And on that, we have a live idea board. So that idea board allows us to extract information and ideas, obviously, from our entire network, our entire group. And there's things that the franchisees, or even the franchisees' employees for that matter, they are bringing these fresh new ideas and have a fresh perspective that we may not have as a franchisor because we're focused on other things. So we really try to keep an open dialogue with the franchisees, and create a community where they feel like they can collaborate with us, and it's not like us and them. We want it to be us, right? We want it to be the franchisee and the franchisor all working towards one common goal. And one of the best ways to do that is to utilize technology and have that idea board. The idea board is super cool because you can post an idea and then you can comment on it, but you can also vote on it. So if there's something from an operational perspective that people see is maybe like an operational deficiency, and the franchisees are all voting on it, and it continues to go up and up on that idea board, it allows us to stop for a second, take a look at it, maybe ask some follow-up questions, better understand what it is, and then we can put that into our pipeline and start focusing on that, because it's not just a priority for one person, but it seems as though it would be beneficial for the group. We have the ability to also take those ideas and show them in real time, where they can check in on the idea board and see what is pending approval, or what's in process, or what's in development, or what is actually gone live. So what a franchisee can actually see is, oh my gosh, I had an idea, I brought it to the group, we voted on it, it got pushed to production, and now it's a live feature or a live function of the franchisor. And it's not just the franchisor calling the shots and crafting the operation system, but I actually had a level of influence over the direction that we were going.
Wow. That is such a great example, and one of pretty easy tool, I think, to perhaps be able to implement, but having
super easy.
I love that. I mean, we're always looking for the systems and things that kind of can bridge those gaps and help. That is really an empathetic system in a way, because it's allowing you guys to not be so top down in things, and empowering people from different locations. We've got a question from a LinkedIn user. What advice would you give to a company trying to rewire their franchise model to be more human-centered?
Yeah, that's it's tough when you're surrounded by so much technology. And I mean, Chat GPT is basically powering all of our emails now. So I believe that you have to be very mindful of technology and some of the use cases for it, and understand that don't just use it for the sake of using it. Don't just use AI to say, because it's a buzzword right now, and you want to be able to say that you have AI in your business model, right? So make sure that there's a legitimate use case for it. It's either enhancing the customer experience, or it's enhancing your team's ability to do more, which ultimately, in my opinion, should allow them to support the customers even more. So if it's some type of technology or tool that is taking away from the human element inside of maybe your clerical staff, hopefully that's allowing those people to reinvest that time back into revenue generating activities, which in most cases it's taking care of your current and existing customers. Because depending on what business we're talking about, referrals for the most part are the lifeblood of just about every business. We all get so tangled up into digital marketing because we're in a digital era right now, and it's incredibly important. If you're not doing any digital marketing, if you're not in any of the search engines, like, you're very late to the party. But we all get so fixated on those as if they're the only thing. But my philosophy is, if I'm spending money on advertising campaigns in this digital environment, I want to be able to capture that person with our hard-earned money. I want to put them in a system, give them the best customer experience possible. That way that person becomes an advocate of the brand and a referral source for life, whether it's them coming back and it's reoccurring business, or they're going to be telling their friends and family about us. And once again, it's easy to get distracted with technology, and to get every day, every year that goes by, we get further and further away from that humane element. However, I feel that the businesses that are going to dominate in the next 5 to 10 years are the ones that are going to utilize technology to run more efficient, to create a better customer experience, and not lose sight of that humane element.
Yeah, I think we deal with that all the time as a marketing agency, right? Because we're in the digital space, and it's like, yeah, we can bring someone all the way, into your business, but really what kind of makes or breaks those referrals is that customer experience. As soon as we're kind of handing off like a lead or something, it's this consumption experience has got to be something where you build, emotional connection with a customer. How do you guys go about kind of building that connection with customer, bridging that?
So we're in construction, right? We're an exterior remodeling company, roofing, siding, windows, doors, gutters. It's not the sexiest industry ever to be in, and there's a lot of negative and a lot of bad in the construction industry. Almost anybody who's watching this, I would assume if they own a property, have had a negative experience with a contractor. So we don't have the best reputation in the world as contractors. So what we try to do is we try to look at ways to engage the customer in a different way than what they've been engaged with in the past when it comes to contractors. So sometimes we'll offer a live video stream where they can tap into a live stream of their project being produced, because when you're doing an exterior project like a roof, it's loud. There's people up on your roof, sometimes 8, 10 at a time. When they're tearing it off, it sounds like the entire house is falling down. So it creates a lot of anxiety while you're in that house and all that stuff is going on, right? So if we can give these people the ability to tap into a live video stream and check on the process and the progress of it, they're no longer relying on us to remember to send them updates, and it allows them visibility into the project versus most contractors will say, I just want to go do my job and be left alone. I don't want this person hovering over my shoulder. So it's incredibly important for us to do things that we know other contractors are simply not doing. Another big thing that's trademarked with us is it's our dollar back nail guarantee. So what we wanted to do was find a way to engage more than just, we talked about transactions offline before we got on the show. We wanted to find a way to get people in that property engaged in a roof or a siding replacement when they weren't the financially responsible party. So how do we find a way to get a 8-year-old interested in a roof replacement? Very difficult. So we created a dollar back nail guarantee, which is trademarked. And for every nail that a customer finds, we'll give them $1 back on that outstanding balance. So the thought process behind it was, let's create some type of treasure hunt for the younger children at the house. Let's bring up our dollar back nail guarantee. If they have young children, let's let the children know about it. After we get the work done, obviously, it's got to be a safe work environment. Up until a week after the project is completed, if they collect nails and bring them to us, we'll give them $1 back on every nail that they find. And we were actually doing a new location, a new franchise location training. And we're literally talking about the dollar back nail guarantee. And the cutest little girl is waddling up to our office with a coffee cup and her dad. And I want to say she had like 35 nails, which on a roof replacement, that sounds like a lot, but when you look at the number of nails that are on a roof, I mean, there's like 8,000 to 10,000 nails that go on and off of a roof during an installation. And she was all happy to come in. We counted the nails. We gave her the money. She was happy as anything. And the father was super grateful. So you take what would typically be a negative experience. I found nails in my yard. They didn't clean up properly. All the different things that a customer could think of, and you make it very positive, because now his daughter's happy. I'm sure they went out and they bought whatever she wanted after that, and making her happy made him happy. And he reinforced, like, you guys did a great job. The cleanup was great. And thank you so much for doing this for my daughter. So I
love these examples. I mean, it's like, so both of them that you like, the camera and being able to see the work. This is really, you're getting into like the customer's head. This is an empathetic approach to the experience, right? You're getting into the head. We're saying, okay, this is a concern for them. How can we solve that concern? And, you have a camera on there. So now it reassures them. And then you're talking about with the nails, this is again, taking what you said, like, this could be a problem and a negative experience. And in our marketing, this is what we call, a negative consumption experience. So this is like, you're consuming your service, and this could be a negative experience. It's like, oh, look at these nails. My kids, could step on their stuff. But now it's more of a positive thing, like you said, a treasure hunt, and little girl coming up there with the cup and everything. And it just flipped the whole experience, on its head, really. And it's by getting into that sort of empathetic approach and making this, really thinking about people first, versus profit, right?
Yeah.
I love those examples on that.
Great examples. And I love the fact that they're rooted in empathy. In fact, Stephen, it kind of it's like the purple goldfish concept, right? That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, something unexpected and surprise and delight kind of emotion that you're dealing with when you're dealing with consumption of a service or product. And that's like just a perfect example of that.
Perfect example. Yeah. If our listeners want to learn more, there's a great book out there entitled The Purple Goldfish. And even, in fact, it's funny that you mentioned that, Carnie. So we built a tool in AI CMO just to help businesses think of this kind of a thing. It's called Purple Goldfish. And yeah, you're able to interact with this tool and come up with ideas that you never may have even really thought of, but that are connected to your purpose and show empathy, and really simple things, beautiful things like that you can come up with and put into practice in your business. So yeah, we'll have to.
I think as a franchisor, that's like one of the first books they tell you to read is Purple Goldfish, because we've all read it, and I don't know whether the idea stemmed from that or not, but it was one of those customer experience exercises that we were doing. Say, how do we make this about more than just the transaction? How do we make it more? How do we involve more parties than just the financially responsible party that we're dealing with?
Yeah. Oh, excellent. We're gonna have to train the AI on this dollar back.
There you go.
Guarantee. So awesome example. Yeah. Speaking about purpose, Carnie, we've found obviously purpose is critical. There's a study that's out there from Deloitte that actually talks about companies that are driven by their purpose, and not just say like a social responsibility or a nonprofit kind of purpose, but really for-profit companies that are driven by their purpose, they grow 3 times faster than their competitor. And so I love to ask our guests this question about purpose. And so what role would you say having a clear purpose plays in a successful business?
Yeah, to me, it's everything, because if you don't have a clear, defined purpose, you're going to get burnt out. Like there's going to, as much as everybody thinks like if you do something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Like we all have bad days. We all go through a season where it's not a whole lot of positive, and it's hard to stay positive. So you have to be rooted in some type of purpose that keeps you showing up every single day, every week, every month. And for most people, it has to be about more than money. So for a lot of people, I've seen this, and I'm still young, I'm only 31 years old, but I've seen this in my career with some of the business owners that I've either worked with or even mentors that I've worked with, where they reach a point in their career financially where they're good. And that's that their purpose shifts tremendously to just simply wanting to help people. They want to be able to impact as many lives as possible. And I think that's one of the things that made me gravitate so much to franchising and made it so easy for us to say that this is a concept that we want to invest a ton of time and energy and even money into, because we have the ability to now help other people chase their dreams and chase their goals. We take on a massive responsibility when people are sometimes investing just about every dollar that they have into a new initiative and this new business model. And they could be cashing out their full retirement fund to chase this new dream. And it's a massive responsibility for us as a franchisor, but to be able to see that come to light is super, super rewarding. And like I'm going to have bad days, and there's going to be days where I just simply don't want to strap up and go to work. But if you have that purpose and you know the reason that you keep showing up every single day, it's hard to not want to show up and not want to work for other people and not seeing people's lives change is incredibly rewarding. We've had people, whether it's at our corporate office or even some of the franchisees that have been with us for 1.5 to 2 years now, seeing their lives change their lifestyle, their finances. A lot of them are buying new houses, new vehicles. You see the way their families grow and they're able to take care of their families, all because of a model, and all because of some of the dedication of some of our really good team members, and pushing these folks to want more. It's incredibly rewarding when you see people's situation and circumstances evolve over a few years. And money doesn't quite do it when you're able to see something like that. But that purpose is so important, because it is not all sunshine and rainbows. Believe me, I probably have more bad days than I do good days. So you have to have a good purpose to keep you showing up and hungry to go to work the next day.
Well, today is a good day. This is an excellent show. So yeah, thank you I love that, right? I mean, there's a reason. Start with your why and have a purpose. Yeah.
Is this the second show in a row where we've talked about it's not all sunshine and rainbows? Like exactly. I think that's the theme this week.
Everybody wants to try and brag that like it is sunshine and rainbows, and I think it's kind of outplayed, because what happens is people get bought into this vision of like, oh, I want to start my own company because I'm going to have freedom and flexibility. It is by far and away. I once again, I'm only 31, so I don't have a whole lot to compare it to, but I can't imagine many things in life being harder than this, other than losing a loved one. I mean, this is just constant punches in the gut. And even when things are going right, you celebrate your win for about 5 minutes, and then it's back in the trenches, especially when you're trying to do something, and you're trying to grow. Anytime that you're trying to grow, you are uncovering new things that you've never seen before. Every extra dollar that you do in revenue it's a learning curve, right? Every new employee. So you're never at a place where, as a business owner that's trying to grow an organization, in my opinion, you're never at a place where you're comfortable, because it's always new. every revenue milestone, every employee milestone, every job that you do comes with more complexities and something new. So you're constantly in a state of not knowing, right? And never having it all figured out. And that creates a lot of anxiety in people. And it leads to—
I've got this wild card joker over my shoulder to remind me that there's just wild cards are played all the time, and you're going to have to embrace the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, and just embrace it, because otherwise you're going to be fighting it. Yeah. How do you, on those bad days and those times, how do you keep your purpose and values aligned, and keeping yourself forward and not stretched when things go wrong?
For me, I'm very competitive. I've always growing up, I always played sports. I always wanted to be the best one on the field. So for me, it's a game. Like, I know that my problems and the hurdles that me and my team face are not unique. Like, anybody who has been at this point that we're in has gone through similar. So understanding that there's people who are ahead of you that went through these same exact obstacles and they came out on the other side. And then also understanding the people that are trying to do what you're doing have to go through that same pain that you went through. For me, it's like that competitive nature in me that makes me believe that there's not a whole lot of people that will withstand, like, you can only handle most people can only handle so much pain. So it's a mental thing for me that once we come across something or have one of those bad days or one of those bad seasons, it's focusing on the fact that all of our competitors, anybody who's behind us, anybody who's further than us, have all been through this, because these problems, these things that arise, are not unique to us in any way, shape, or form. And it just really keeps me going to know that anybody who wants to go through this has to put in the reps, and they're going to face these same problems. And it's, for me, it's the problem. It sounds kind of hokey to say it, but like, the problems are they're inevitable, and we just kind of learn to embrace them, because we know that once we get through this, we're going to be in a better spot, whether it's operationally, mentally, financially, whatever it is. This pain that we're feeling right now, it's only temporary as long as we keep moving and learn from it. and it keeps us with that positive mindset. And if not, it'll eat you alive.
Pain is a powerful teacher. It's it's not an easy teacher. We've got another question
Growth
from the
is hard.
audience here. Carnie, what does the next phase of growth look like for the company?
So that's a great question. We're still kind of in our infancy, to be completely honest. We've been franchising for we brought our first location on just a little bit over 2 years ago. So we're very fortunate to have some very strong partners and some very strong mentors. One of our partners is responsible for bringing in like 6,500 locations in his career. So we have the right, I always say we have the right horses in the race, but for us this year specifically is about getting that key foundation to go from X amount of locations to 100 plus, getting all those fundamental pieces, the right vendors, the right relationships, the right technology, getting that stuff for the most part figured out. There's going to be things that we're not thinking of once we get to 50 or 75 locations, but those fundamental pieces are really coming to a close right now. And within the next 60 to 90 days will be fully solidified. And then from there, it's explosive growth, right? We want to start getting to a place in time where we're bringing 3 to 5 locations on a month. And with that is going to require us investing into people. So at this point in time, we have invested a lot of capital back into the infrastructure and the operating system and some of those fundamental and foundational pieces. And now the next big focus for us is investing in the right people at the franchisor level to really help to support not the growth, not just the growth that we want to see here, but make sure that the franchisees that were the early adopters and the ones that are going to be new and coming in the future are really set up for a streamlined model, something that's going to allow them to truly be successful. And we have some data and the technology and the processes to support that. That's a big focus for us over the next, I'd say, the next year to 2 years.
All right. Well, this is the stage where I say our Bliss concept applies, where you got to build love into those scalable systems of yours so that you don't dilute what you've got going on right now. I ask this question to every guest around this love in business. What role does love play in business?
So I don't know if I was in my feels last night or what, but I actually sent a group message out to a few members on our team and let them know, like, hey, I understand that both personally and professionally, like you have some goals and some dreams, but I appreciate you guys being on this ride with me and let them know that, hey, I see everything starting to really come together and I see the type of growth and the opportunities for all of us in the very short to midterm future, and let them know that, hey, I love you guys. Like, I appreciate you guys being here with us. So it's incredibly important, man. I mean, we want to make sure that people want to work here. Like, they feel that they're valued. People don't want to work in an environment or with people that undervalue them. It's, once again, this is something that kind of sounds hokey, but like, we want that family feel. I want to be locking arms with my brothers and sisters and going to war. I don't want to feel like I'm locking arms with a total stranger, right? Because I can't trust a total stranger, but I can trust my family. I can trust the people that I know have my back and they know that I got their back. So it's incredibly powerful, and it has to not just be in our environment, but it has to go down to the franchisees and their teams. And we're seeing it. Like, a lot of these franchisees do a really good job of making sure that their team is taken care of. One of them today actually hit our Slack channel where it's our entire community, and just shouted out their employee that had a birthday today. So everybody's saying happy birthday to this person, right? And most people, their birthday would come and go and nobody would ever really even know about it besides their immediate family. So making sure that family environment stays intact for us is very important. But it also does get very hard too, because if you have to make a business decision, but you really care strongly and have an emotional connection to these people, it makes it hard to make real-time decisions because we care about people, right? But sometimes in business, we have to make hard decisions. But as long as you're able to communicate with these people, if or when a decision like that has to be made, and you can let them know, like, hey, I appreciate you, but we're just moving in a different direction. I think that you can still keep those conversations very positive. But that love part, I mean, it has to be in everything that we do. And like, so one of our franchisees serviced somebody who, unfortunately, one of their family members passed away, and we found out about it at corporate. So we sent out a gift to that family member. So it's not just us, it's not just our team, but it's being empathetic to everybody. And there's going to be things that slip through the crack, but we really try to do a good job of making sure that our community, the people who trust us, whether they're in our little circle or not, that they know that, like, hey, we feel you, we feel what you guys are going through, and you're important to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that point about the lasting impact. Steve always reminds us, right? Connection is the goal. And I always, love to tell our guests and our audience some of the things that you just mentioned, Carnie. They're not expensive, right? And it's not rocket science. It's again, humane and sending it. Yeah.
And if those hard decisions aren't a little bit painful, then you should probably check yourself a little bit, right? Yeah, it should be painful. If it's not, you need to check yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If anybody is happy to fire people and act like they get a power trip off of it, you probably have some underlying issue.
Yes, very, very much so, and very wise words. So, Carnie, thank you so much, really, for sharing your story with us today and the tremendous insights. I've got, an amazing number of notes here. I love the dollar back nail guarantee. That's amazing. The idea board, so many good insights. So, for those who are tuning in or might watch our show a little bit later, and they want to learn more about CR3 American Exteriors, where would you want them to go to learn more?
Yeah, so if anybody's interested in potentially seeking a franchise opportunity, the website below, CR3franchise.com, that would be a great place to check it out. You can book a discovery call with us. We'd be happy to talk to you about the opportunity. Anybody who needs any exterior services done, CR3America.com. Steven's raising his hand. He's got a leak. CR3America.com is our customer-facing website. So you can look up the location that's closest to us. It'll route you to our local team, and then they can go ahead, schedule a consultation, and come take a look at it for you. If anybody wants to follow me personally, you can just look me up, Carnie Fryfogle. I always joke with people and say I'm one of one, but I'm actually a third. So, but I'm also extremely easy to find. So you can find us on all major social media platforms or those two websites I just listed.
All right, thanks, Carnie, and thank you to our listeners for joining us. If today's episode helped you think differently about leadership, innovation, and connection in business, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. All of that helps the cause. And we'll see you next time on the Bliss Business Podcast.
Thanks for having me on, guys.